Buddy, it's funny. I was just looking at the channel page, and somebody just left a comment on the Shadow stream. The Shadow, one of the most popular old time radio shows ever. They left a comment and said, "I wonder if anybody will listen to these." Have you seen? Anyways, where do college vampires like to shop? Yes, bring on your dad jokes tonight. Where do college vampires like to shop? Forever 21. Yeah, here we go.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Hey, everybody, here we are once again doing a live stream tonight. We're going to have fun. We're going to tell dad jokes all night long, and we're going to talk about silent horror films of 1920, the year 1920. So I'm just going to, again, a kind of a casual stream here, going to have some fun with it. And how do vampires start their letters? Tomb it may concern. Okay, there you go. Where does Dracula keep his money? A blood bank. Most of these you guys probably have heard before, but anyways. Hey, Edward Stewart, what's going on? Grant L, Connie Clary, Harry Scott, what's going on? Travis DeLuca, Ryan 79. Love the intro music. Thank you. Who else is here? Donovan Belair. I think I saw Paul Ham here. Happy Sun, Edward Stewart. Hello, person through Night Fright Talk Show. Good to see everybody. Welcome. We are going to just sit back and tell some funny jokes and talk about silent horror films. So there you go. What did Dracula call his interior design book? Feng Shui. What? Oh, I snorted. Did you guys hear me snort? Hey, Black Roses, what's going on? What do you call the ghost of a bee? A booby. Yes, you said that yesterday, I think. Ryan, it never gets old, though. There you go. Ryan 79, I think I said hello to you. Do you know you made my night on this stream? Okay. Well, I know you like your silent horrors, Connie. So, yeah, let's get right into it and start talking about some silent horror films. N Gold says, hi, Harry. I can see that up close. Looks like kind of a comic looking avatar. I like it. Yeah, I know. Did you guys hear me snort? Don't usually snort, but I snorted. So anyways, let's get started. Seems like the first film to come out of 1920 horror related, which doesn't give you a whole lot of information. So I'll quickly go through the first one. It's called Anita. It was from Austria, 1920. The director was Jacob Fleck, Louis Fleck. Listen, we'll skip it because it's no information on it. But some of these are lost films too. So, take that as it is. Oh boy, getting some text here. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Listen, the mom texted me. I gotta respond. I hope your evening is going great. Going very well. Yes. Still booming from. Listen, I was going to review the movie and discuss the movie M, 1931 with Peter Lorre. I pushed that back. When kids are over, my daughter was over last night. She ended up watching Pieces, which I've done a discussion on, and she's like, okay, that's very weird and interesting the way the film ended. Watched Basket Case and loved it. So I love that my kids are loving like the old school horror stuff. So it's very cool. Anyways, with that said, let's continue talking about that. Why don't vampires attack Taylor Swift? She's got bad blood. Taylor Swift. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I don't know. What's a vampire's least favorite meal? Steak. Yeah, that's what you're going to get out of a dad joke, I guess. Okay, so here we go. Um, Next film, of course, is a classic. I mean, come on. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from Germany. The director is Robert Wayne, Wiene. I don't know why I can't get that right. Werner Krauss was the cast, and Conrad Veidt. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, we all know what that is. A great film with German expressionist. It's great. I don't even think I need to go into that very much, because we know everything there is to know about the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And if not, you can go back to my channel and check it out. The next one is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Hold on. And there were two in a row here made. Gotham City Comics. Hello, everybody. Good to see you, Gotham City Comics. First cult film. Yes, Edward Stewart. Definitely. And Gold. Horror films from the silent era are in a class of their own. Amen. 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 You can't get... I've said this over and over. Listen, there's decades of different types of horror. The silence, there, you can try to recreate them, but you really can't recreate them. Same with the 30s. Same with the 40s. I mean, 50s, 60s, 70s. Can you really recreate the 70s either? That kind of grainy quality and color palette that there is to the decade of the 70s. You can try, but again, the 80s films, again, every decade, I don't think you can really recreate them. But the silent era, yes, very, very unique. It's the beginning of filmmaking and all that stuff. Okay, so the next film is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There are two in a row, both from the United States. This first one is directed by John S. Robertson and stars John Barrymore, Martha Mansfield. And of course, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it's a 1920 American silent horror film. Is an adaptation of the 1886 novella Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Boy, let's see, what else can I say? The story, set in late Victorian London, portrays the tragic consequences of the doctor's experiments in separating dual personalities. We all know this. I think the 1934 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is the best of all time, in my opinion. It is just done so well. I've talked about that over and over and over, and it doesn't get any better. But if you're a lover of silent films, you may think one of these are better. Let's see. Don't want to miss anything you guys got to say. They all are in a league of their own. Yes, they are. Dr. Jekyll versions Sheldon Lewis, John Barrymore, 1920. Here we go. I have to go to the next Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1920. This was right after that one, United States, directed by J. Charles Hayden, and it stars Sheldon Lewis. So this was another film made right after the first one. What can I say different about this? The Sheldon Lewis version, this one, was somewhat overshadowed by the 1920 Paramount Pictures version starring John Barrymore, which had been released just the month before. So odd that, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde would come out within a month of each other, both from the United States. Different companies, though. I don't know how often that happened back in the day, but I haven't seen either one of these, believe it or not, you guys. I really haven't. There was just so much going on in each period culturally that influenced the stories, Grant says. Exactly. I mean, that's why it's just so hard to recreate a decade, They try, but Paul Hamm, that scene where Barrymore is visited in bed by that Hyde spider is creepy. Listen, there's a creepiness to silent films, anyways. I mean, try to do you can do comedies and silent and in black and white, but when you try to go scary and creepy and airy, silent films, that's the way to go, man. Very cool idea, Dino. Thank you, Justin. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll, 1915, first German version. Yep. That's why I titled this 1920s. Let's talk silent horror films of the 1920s. And this is, this is the whole decade of the 20s. I think I said 1920, but this is the whole decade of the 20s that we're going to talk about here. The Barrymore one is amazing for its time. Very cool. Hi, Harry. I vote for Nosferatu. Was a genius. Strange Case. Okay. So anyways, let's keep going. Should I throw in a dad joke real quick? Let's see what this is. Why did the vampire read the newspaper? He heard it had great circulation. Okay, back to the movies. Okay, so the next horror silent film to come out of 1920 is called Genuine. It's a German film, came out of Germany, directed by Robert Wein, the same guy who did The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Stars Fern Andra, Hans Heinrich von Twardowski. Say that real fast. But this is, let's see, original German title. Listen, I don't know. Let's see if I can try that. Genuine die Tragödie. No, I'm not even going to try. Forget it. Tragedy of a Strange House is what it's called. 1920 German silent horror film directed by Robert Wright. It was also released. Yes, I know that. Genuine is a follow-up to his massively successful film, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, using the same writer and cinematographer who had worked on the earlier film. Production designer Caesar Klein even returned to contribute his bizarre Caligari-like imagery to the film. The film's character, Genuine, is not actually a vampire, but rather a vamp, a succubus, who uses her powers of seduction to torment and control the men who love her. There is a bit of surprising nudity in the slave market sequence. The plot utilizes it was all just a dream type ending, as the proceedings are revealed to be a dream suffered by a man who falls asleep while reading a scary book. The film did not do well at the box office, but Wayne returned to form with his 1924 opus, The Hands of Orlok. Genuine was edited down into 43-minute condensed version, which is the cut that has most commonly been available. The complete film is available on YouTube. I'm going to have to watch this. This sounds awesome. Has anybody seen this? Lovely Vamps, my favorite. Has anybody seen this German film? I'm definitely, oh my God, I got you guys talking. Here we go. The Barrymore, okay, got that. Martha Mansfield, July 14th, 1899. Rest in peace. Yes. November 23rd, 1923. Rest in peace. The black and white, Everything Just Works. Yes. The Barrymores are a legacy in their own. Well, yeah, they are. I mean, come on. Good work, Dino. Thank you. Rim shot. Hello, Dino and everyone. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? Good to see ya. Let's see. Wine is pronounced like vine. Wine. I'm saying wine. Wine. W-I-E-N-E. Wine. Okay. Listen, disregard my bloopers. It is what it is. Orlok, yes, indeed. Kind of clear. I did Dino. Okay. Yes, it's fantastic, Dino. I take it that nude scenes were still taboo in the silent era. And gold. They weren't as taboo as you think, N Gold. That's why they ended up with they got the Hays Code in after the pre-code, which was, late 20s or early 30s. But I think there was a period during the silent films that there was another code they were trying to regulate filmmaking. But listen, I think it was all up for grabs in the silent era. So Ryan 79, congrats on 100K subs, Dino. Thank you. Martha Mansfield passed away from bloodstream infections. Yeah, if you didn't have the right medicines back in the day. This is one I got to see. Genuine, or maybe Genuine. Why? See, everything's in tonight. What's going on there? I don't know. So the next film, and that's one on my list I got to see. This one's The Golem, another German horror film from 1920. Looks like Germany was very busy during that early. That's the thing. Germany, right before World War I, World War II, between World War I and World War II, they started to get things got messed up in the country. I mean, we all know that. And they really didn't allow German filmmakers to really, everything was propagandized. Filmmaking just went kaput. You know what I mean? So through this silent era in the early 20s here, we really got a lot of good German films until after the war, and even a little bit after that into the late 40s and the 50s, when we started to get the creamy films, which are the precursor to the giallo films. So there is that. But the next film is The Golem, How He Came into the World, from Germany. The director was Paul Wegener and Karl Bose. Actors Paul Wegener, he also acted in it, and Albert Steinruck. So The Golem, let's see, what is this? I think we all, there's different versions of The Golem, but let me see. The Golem is fantastic and was the first horror franchise. Yes, Paul Ham. Yes. It was common in German films if the 20s as art. Yes. Agreed. I think it's still art is what it is if you're talking about the nudity in film. But anyways, do you have a Discord to show movies on, or can you do it on YouTube? Ryan79, you join the channel. You can join the channel or join Patreon, and you get access to Discord. And you also get access to movie night every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we watch movies together. So yes, there you go. But I do have a Discord, and there you go. So anyways, yes, The Golem, How He Came into the World, is 1920, a German silent horror film, and a leading example of early German expressionism. We know the director that co-wrote the script, Henrik Galing, based on Gustav Meyrink's 1915 novel, stars as the titular creature, a being in Jewish folklore created from clay. Photographer Karl Freund went on to work on the 1930s classic Universal horror films years later in Hollywood. Oh my God. The Golem, How He Came into the World, is the third of 3 films that Wegener made featuring the Golem. The other 2 being The Golem 1915 and the short comedy The Golem. I can't talk tonight, you guys. I'm sorry. The Golem and the Dancing Girl 1917, in which Wegener dons the Golem makeup in order to frighten a young lady with whom he is infatuated. The Golem, How He Came into the World, is a prequel to The Golem from 1915, and as the only one of these films that has not been lost, is the best known of the series. Oh, why must they get lost? Hey, CM, what's going on? Good to see you. What kind of bread does zombies prefer? Whole grain. Can't have you any other way. Thank you, Connie. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just something else, man. Anyways, what do you call a vampire in trouble? A grave problem. I kissed a vampire last Halloween. Do you know what it felt like? Pain in the neck. Boom. Okay, anyways, let's move on. Next film is, let's see if I can get through all of these films. I think I'll make sure I do. The next film is another German film, and this unfortunately is a lost film. Yes, I will get to all of the films, Edward. Yes, F.W. Murnau, The Haunted Castle, 1921, awesome film. Yes, I'm trying to make my way through the list. Let's see. So yes, it's the next one is a German film called The Head of Janus. Directed by F.W. Murnau. Stars Conrad Veidt again and Bela Lugosi. This is a lost film. But The Head of Janus, man, God, why is it got to be lost? The film was an adaptation of another Robert Louis Stevenson's 1886 novella, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Little is known about the production. It was shot and previewed under the title Schrecken, which means terror, with production starting in either February or March 1920. The film received Head of Janus, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Paul Hamm knew it. There you go. The film received great acclaim in Germany from trade. How the hell is it lost? Gosh. Great acclaim in Germany from trade publications and newspapers on its release, specifically noting the performance of Conrad Veidt. Listen, what a great actor of the time, right? For horror films especially. The film is a lost film and has been described by Bela Lugosi biographers Gary Rhodes and Bill Kaffenberger as being among the most sought-after lost films due to its initial critical acclaim, and what Robert Louis Stevenson researchers Steve Joyce described as an all-star film team of cinematographer Karl Freund, director F.W. Murnau, and actors Conrad Veidt and Bela Lugosi. Yeah, how the hell did that movie get lost? I mean, we know a lot of them got lost because they didn't understand the film and how they went up in flames and everything else. It's sad. It's sad, but yeah. The next movie. Moving on. Let's get really the weekend. I'm a Psycho. Guess who? Guessed who? Guessed who? What's going on here? Janus makes sense as a Jekyll and Hyde adaptation. Grant says, very cool. Hey, Ian Sharp. What's going on? Good to see you tonight. I think the original was lost in a fire. Most of them were lost in a fire. Unfortunately, the problem with mummies are they are too wrapped up in themselves. Good one, Black Roses. Like it. The master film, yes. Next film is from United States. This one, thankfully, isn't lost, and it's called The Penalty, directed by Wallace Worsley Sr., starring Lon Chaney and Claire Adams. Ooh, Claire Adams. Look at that. The Penalty is an American psychological thriller crime film starring Lon Chaney and originally released in 1920 by Goldwyn Pictures. The movie was directed by Wallace Worsley and written by Philip Lonergan and Charles Kenyon, based upon the pulp novel by Gouverneur Morris. The supporting cast includes Charles Clary, Doris Pawn, Jim Mason, and Claire Adams. Gonna go through that real quick. Portions of the film were shot in San Francisco. The Penalty was re-released to theaters in 1926 by MGM. This was the first of 5 films Chaney would make with director Wallace Worsley. The others being Ace of Hearts, Voices of the City, A Blind Bargain, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The film exists in its complete form and is available on DVD. Cheney's leather stumps, crutches, and costume from this film were donated by the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles, along with his famous makeup case. Very, very cool. Looking at the poster right here, looks very cool. Blizzard, the legless crime boss of the underworld. So it looks like it's kind of a mob kind of crime type fiction. One is to get revenge upon Dr. Ferris Clary. Chowder operation results in Blizzard's leg being hastily and unnecessarily amputated. Okay, there you go. An early crime thriller, horror, whatever you want to say, but very cool. Very cool. What is a vampire's favorite fruit? Nectarine. How did the vampire race finish? Neck and neck. Okay, so oh, Lord have mercy on me. Let's see. I'm not a monster, LOL. Thank you, Connie. Thumbs up, everybody, please, if you're enjoying the stream or just hanging out with me. Either or, whatever. We're hanging. Kind of looky like it. Okay, so next film, the last horror film in 1920, and then we go on to 1921. It's from Italy, and it is a lost film called The Monster of Frankenstein, directed by Eugenio Testa, starring Umberto Guaracino. Umberto Guaracino. The Monster of Frankenstein from Italy. Lost film. See what they got to say about this. Il Mastro di Frankenstein is a 1921 Italian silent film. The film features actor Luciano Albertini as Baron von Frankenstein and Umberto. Now, this is what gets to me. When you start hearing Frankenstein's, Dracula's, all of these being lost to time, and you'll never see it again. Anyways, I know. I got to go on. Get over it, Dino. Albertini was known for his strongman films at the time, particularly the Sanson film series. Sanson? Sansone? The Samson or Sanson? Anyways, the film is a lost film with only a photo, some promotional materials, and a single published review left to give it insight to what the film was. After the film's release, it became the last Italian production of Albertini for Albertini Film, which seemingly relocated to Germany after this film. Critics and film historians have sometimes credited the film as an early example of a horror film, while others stated there wasn't enough evidence to truly know what kind of film style it was attempting. Listen, if it's about Frankenstein, I would guess with at least 80% accuracy that it's probably, but it says The Monster of Frankenstein. It's got to be a horror film. But lost in the graveyard of films. So moving on to 1921. 1921 we are. Where do ghosts reside? Dead end streets. In what way do monsters prefer their eggs? Terra fried. Okay. Let's see. I didn't miss anything today. Okay. So the next one, 1921. The film is from Germany. Give it to the Germans. They knew their filmmaking in the early part of the century. It's called Destiny. Destiny, directed by Fritz Lang and starring Lil Dagover, Bernard Gutsky, Getsky, Walter Jansen. Destiny, let's see, is a 1921 silent German expressionist fantasy romance film and inspired by the Indian folk tale of Savitri. Savitri, Savitri. The film follows a woman desperate to reunite with her dead lover. It also follows 3 other tragic romances set in a Middle Eastern city in Venice, Italy, and in the Chinese Empire. And sometime in some place, a loving young couple is riding in a carriage on a country road. So interesting. Okay, so a fantasy romance, German expressionist film. Where the horror part comes in, who knows? But probably the fantasy side of it. The poster doesn't really give much other than looking kind of religious. I mean, there is a DVD cover, so it must evidently be out there on DVD. So, and you could probably find it on YouTube too, I'm guessing. Because most of these films have got to be in the public domain. So there we go. Destiny. I've never seen it. Don't know how it is. So Destiny, you're my destiny. First anthology film. Destiny, first anthology film. Paul Ham, the resident expert, sending healing and loving positive vibes. Thank you, Travis DeLuca. Is everybody okay? That sounds like a good film. Love the plot. Says N Gold. Yeah. Hopefully everybody's doing well. One of the last in 1920 legible Couperus. Illegible. Anyways. Okay, Edward. That one's not on the list, but I take your word for it. You know your silent films too. Listen, I'm sure there are more. I'm sure there's some that are lost that aren't even on the list for sure, but there's quite a comprehensive list. But okay, so another one in 1921 from Hungary, and this is a lost film. I do like talking about lost films because, you know, at least you can talk a little bit about it, even though it aggravates you. But it is a lost film from Hungary, and it's called Dracula's Death. Dracula's Death. Dennis. Hi, Boy Donuts. Dennis, RTN Productions. Much love, buddy. Donald Duck Apple Juice. There you go. Dracula's Death. Let's see. I'm not even going to pronounce the names on these ones. Is a silent film that was co-written and directed by Carolee Legthay. The film was the first appearance of Count Dracula from Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, 1897. Though the film does not follow the plot of the novel. Okay, and there are some images. Plot. A woman experiences frightening visions after being admitted to an insane asylum where one of the inmates claims to be Dracula. She has trouble determining whether the inmate's visions are real or merely nightmares. See? Now there you go. It's based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula, but it takes a whole different turn. Man, I would love to see that. And if you guys can see, I know it may be kind of small, but there's kind of a sketching print or something of the movie there. That sounds interesting, man. So there's not really a vampire. She goes into an insane asylum, which has to be eerie and scary in its own right. You know what I mean? And listen, it's kind of a mashup, says Grant. Yepers, thank you. You're interesting. His avatar still shows up as a channel member. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Yepper. And listen again, Dennis will be forever in the past streams. Go to a past stream and see him chat away. Act like he's there. You can still You can still watch all the conversations, because if you look under each video, there's a button down there that says live chat. If you hit that live chat, it'll pop up on the side. That's just if you've never known that before. You know what I mean? So yes, we'll always be there. Hi at the Late Late Horror Show and all. WTF? What's going on? Listen, I'm just hanging out here talking silent horror films, and I never know what the heck people are gonna like. So I'm over that. That's for sure. I'm just gonna do what I like to do and have fun with it, and whoever shows up shows up. So there you go. Next movie. Here we go. Somebody mentioned this earlier. Also from 1921. It's a German film, The Haunted Castle. Another movie by F.W. Murnau, starring Arnold Korft and Lothar Maynard. I hope listen, it doesn't really matter at this point, right? This looks cool. Look at that poster. Let me talk about this plot really quick. The plot of The Haunted Castle, a silent mystery film. A silent mystery film. 1921, Between Two Worlds, or The Weary Death of the Three Lights. Okay, so the plot of this, listen, I'm going by what was on. A company of men meet for a hunt lasting several days at Castle Vogelad, being hosted by Lord von Vogelschrey. Because of the rain, they spend their time inside, and uninvited guest shows up. Count Johann Ocht, whatever. He's suspected of having shot his brother Peter a few years ago. The rumor gets nourished by a retired judge of the district court. The widow of the murder victim also arrives, along with her new husband, Baron Safferstadt. Another guest is announced, Father Fairmund, a friend of the deceased husband. In the following days, the Count and the Baroness accuse one another of the murder. Flashbacks show that the Baroness' marriage wasn't harmonious. Her first husband became obsessed by spiritualism. She wished for something evil to happen to him, and their guest, Baron Safferstadt, shot him. She married the Baron, but they felt empty. Father Fairmont takes his false beard and his wig off, revealing himself as the Count, who now can justify his innocence. But the Baron shoots him. The true Father Fairmont comes to the castle. So, I mean, sounds interesting. I mean, I'll tell you what, the poster for this film looks pretty damn cool. If you can see that, I like to hold this up. I mean, I think you guys can kind of see that if you put it full screen. But that looks pretty cool. I like that image there of the film, like kind of the film poster, advertisement, whatever. The Haunted Castle looks pretty cool. I like it. With that said, why did the Nope. Why didn't the boy's mother dress up for Halloween? She was already a mummy. What music do mummies like? Rap music? Why does mummies have friends? Why don't mummies have friends? Because they're too wrapped up in themselves. Oh boy. Okay, let's get back to the films. The last one from 1921 that's on my list. I know there are more. The Phantom Carriage from Sweden. The Phantom Carriage from Sweden. And I most certainly don't think I can pronounce these. Directed by Victor Sjöström. I think the S is silent, but I'm not sure. Okay, so The Phantom Carriage from Sweden is a 1921 Swedish silent film based on the 1912 novel Thy Soul Shall Bear Witness by Swedish author Selma Lagerlöf. In the film, Jostrom plays a drunkard named David Holm, who, on the night of New Year's Eve, is compelled by the ghostly driver of Death's carriage to reflect on his past mistakes. Almost like a Scrooge kind of theme. Alongside Jostrom, the film's cast includes, oh God, Hilda Borgstrom, Tore Svenberg, and Astrid Holm. The Phantom Carriage was released in Scandinavia on New Year's Day, 1921. The following year, Metro Pictures Corporation re-edited and released the film in the United States under the title The Stroke of Midnight. It was known as Thy Soul Shall Bear Witness in the United Kingdom. The Phantom Carriage is notable for its special effects, its innovative narrative structure, with flashbacks within flashbacks, and for having been a major influence on the works of Ingmar Bergman. It has been characterized as belonging to several genres. It has been called a morality tale, a melodrama, a fantasy film, and a horror film. It is sometimes considered one of the first horror films due to its atmosphere and its impact on later entries in the genre. The film is generally considered to be one of the central works in the history of Swedish cinema. The Phantom Carriage. Very cool. That sounds very cool. And one I didn't see. Listen, I know a lot of these are on probably on YouTube and you can be seen, but there you go. Ryan79. Discord. Wait, what's going on here? Let's see. Definitely good to have each and every one of you hang out with me here tonight. Phantom Carriage, aka also called The Soul Shall Bear. Yeah, didn't I just say that, Edward? Listen, I'm not going back. It was thy soul shall bear witness in the United Kingdom. So yes, I did say that. Holy hell. What did I do? Okay, there we go. It would be like filler. You'd think skeletons would like tripe. Packing material. What the hell? Which food the best in maximum order by skeletons? Spare ribs. Discord. Ryan, what's going on, bud? Did somebody mention Discord again? You can get on Discord. That's for sure. It is on YouTube, Grant L says. Very cool. I mean, I figured it was, but there you go. Okay, continuing on to 1922. 1922. See, I'm definitely not going to get through this list. Maybe I should just bop back and forth, or I'll just have another night where I continue this. That's all. Another one is for 1922, a lost film from the United States, A Blind Bargain. A Blind Bargain, directed by Wallace Worsley Sr., starring Lon Chaney, Raymond McGee, Jacqueline Logan, and Fontaine LaRue. So A Blind Bargain. I do. This is a lost film. Yet, look at this movie poster, which survived, with Lon Chaney. Look at that movie poster. Nice. Part two. No, I'm trying to figure it out. LOL. Ryan, if you just go down in the chat on the very bottom, or underneath the video, there's a join button. You can join the channel for very little. I think $1, or is it $1.99? I don't know. And once you hit that, you have access to the community page that will be there too. And from there, you will see everything, links to everything, and you'll be there. So hopefully that helps out. But anyways, so here we go. A Blind Bargain is a 1922 American silent horror film starring Lon Chaney, and Raymond McGee. Like I said, released through Goldwyn Pictures. The film was directed, and is based on Barry Payne's 1897 novel, The Octave of Claudius. Lon Chaney played a dual role in the film as both Dr. Lamb and the Ape Man, one of Chaney's few true horror films, and it's lost. The claim that Wallace Beery appears as an ape man, uncredited, has never been proven, but does persist in many sources. Although the film was finished in November 1921, it was only released in December 1922. This delay was due to problems with the censors, as the film's theme dealt with doctors creating artificial life and attempting to play God, kind of like Frankenstein. The film was cut from 6 reels to 5 in the process. See, even in 1921, they tried to tamper with things that didn't make sense for them. And the title cards had to be rewritten 4 times. The film is now considered lost and remains today one of the most sought-after lost films of Lon Chaney's career. A lobby card from the film exists on the internet, as well as a photo of Lon Chaney in Ape Man makeup. So there you go. Very cool. I mean, listen, lost films. What can you say? In the next one, oh boy, censors. Yeah, Ian Sharp. Always censors. Always censors. Hey, it's Dave Plouffe. And I have listed for April 12th, a Wednesday. Me and Dave Plouffe will be on here discussing Art Bell and remembering Art Bell and Coast to Coast AM and all the guests and all the experiences. And I'll talk about my first time hearing Art Bell again for anybody who hasn't heard it. But good to see you, Dave, today. Released his garden video. If you like garden tours, go over there and sub. Good stuff. So the next film is also a lost film. And this one hits me hard because, I mean, in a way, but we also got Bob Hope to do the Ghost Breakers. So, but in this lost film from the United States in 1922, The Ghost Breaker, directed by Alfred Green, starring Wallace Reed, Leela Lee, and Walter Hayes, or Hires, or whatever. I like the poster. Look at this. If you guys look online for the Ghostbreaker 1922, look at that. You can kind of see it. The Ghostbreaker. I think that looks pretty damn good. I like that artwork. That's a pretty cool poster. I just might get that printed up is what I might do. Anyways, The Ghostbreaker is a 1922 American silent horror comedy film about haunted houses and ghosts. It was produced by famous players Lasky and distributed through Paramount Pictures. It was directed by Alfred E. Green and starred Wallace Reed in one of his last screen roles. The story, based on the 1909 play The Ghostbreaker by Paul Dickey and Charles W. Goddard, had been released on film in 1914, bearing the same name, directed by Cecil B. DeMille and Oscar Apfel. The 1922 version is now considered lost. No. Two of the actors in this film, Snitz Edwards and Arthur Edmund Carraway, later appeared together in the 1925 Lon Chaney silent classic, The Phantom of the Opera. 2 uncredited ghosts in the cast were Mervyn Leroy and Richard Arlen. Later went on to successful film careers. The Ghostbreaker would be remade in the sound era as The Ghost Breakers. Just putting an S at the end, right? 1940 with Bob Hope, Paulette Goddard, and later as Scared Stiff, 1953, starring Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. Both really good films, but Scared Stiff doesn't even come close to The Ghostbreakers, 1940, with Bob Hope. and Paulette Goddard. So yes, there you go. The Ghostbreaker, 1922, lost film. Why? 561, Choppa. What's up, Choppa? Choppa, good to see you. Harry Scott, be right back. There are people still waiting for the show on the other stream. It's funny. Oh, well, again, that's the funny thing. I do these shows about horror films and trivia and everything, and I don't know. I don't know if people understand that I go live at 8 o'clock too, because I mean, I most definitely wished more people did, and more people would watch these and enjoy them. But if they don't enjoy them, they don't enjoy them. If they just like the old time radio shows, that's fine too. It's all good. It's all good. Much love to each and every one of you. Leela Lee, Babelicious. Yes, Stay Buffet. You know that. Richard Arlen was in Island of Lost Souls. Yes, Island of Lost Souls. One of the greatest. I mean, it's the first film and first video I did on this channel 7 years ago, or has it been more now? I think 7 or 8 years. I don't know. But good to see you, Choppa. Good to see you, Choppa. So anyways, moving on. The next film, we all know the silent film, Haxen from Sweden, directed by Benjamin Christensen. He also starred in it along with Clara Pontoppidan. Boy, can I read. Jiminy Christmas. Haxen, the Witch. Danish, Hexen, English, The Witches. Released in the US in 1968 as Witchcraft Through the Ages. Yes, we all remember that. I think that's what popularized the film again, really. But it is the 1922 silent horror essay film written and directed by Benjamin Christensen, consisting partly of documentary-style storytelling as well as dramatized narrative sequences. The film charts the historical roots and superstitions surrounding witchcraft, beginning in the Middle Ages through the 20th century, based partly on Christensen's own study of a 15th century German guide for inquisitors. Haxen proposes that such witch hunts may have stemmed from misunderstandings, really, of mental or neurological disorders, triggering mass hysteria. Yes. And I can go on and on. There's a lot to talk about with this film, but that's basically the crux of it all. And, documentary style and witchcraft. So Haxen, we all know it. Some of us love it. Some of us don't. I'm great just having some ice cream. Nice. Haxen would be considered the first documentary film, yes. I do believe so. I'm not sure of anything else before Haxen that kind of did that. I could be wrong because there were lots of tinkering across the globe with movie making, so who the heck knows? Have to watch that one. You haven't seen that one? Hi, Ian Sharp. Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely one. It was censored here in the U.S., German, and France at the time of its release. Engold, yes. I'm trying not to go super in depth on each film, although, I could do that too. But, I'm just trying to keep it short with the plot, director, and name the movie and all that. I'm trying to look for other movies too that maybe I've never seen before. And it's good to go through lists and see what I may have missed. But there certainly is comprehensive information in a lot of these films, that's for sure. Janine Eastman, I get notified when you are live by selecting Notify Me on your YouTube channel. Any upcoming event for the channel gives a subscriber the opportunity to be notified. It's very helpful. I know. I think a lot of people understand that the old time radios are always at 10 p.m. At night, but these ones, they might not be getting notified by it. Who the heck knows? That's YouTube. So it is what it is. They're always there on the channel, and I'm having fun with you guys talking about these movies and everything else I do on the channel. But there you go. So the next film from the United States, 1922, is The Headless Horseman, classic story. The Headless Horseman, directed by Edward D. Venturini, starring Will Rogers, Ben Hendricks, and Lewis Meredith. The Headless Horseman should be just that, right? Yes, there we go. Silent film adaptation of Washington Irving's 1820 short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Directed by Edward D. Venturini, it stars Will Rogers, Lewis Meredith, in her last major on-screen appearance, and Ben Hendricks Jr. It was the first panchromatic black and white feature film. Okay. There were, well, panchromatic, let's see. Oh God, I'm not going to, that is a frickin' long description. A panchromatic emulsion renders a realistic reproduction of a scene as it appears to the human eye. Although with no color, almost all modern photographic film is panchromatic. I was saying panchromatic. So many types of film were orthochromatic and were not sensitive to certain wavelengths of light. Interesting. Okay, there you go. Okay, so getting back to the film. Where am I at? There were 3 silent film adaptations of the story, but this 1922 version is the longest of the 3, as well as the only one that survives today. Sadly. Film critic Christopher Workman states, the obvious day for night shooting foreshadows the work of Edward D. Wood Jr. The film is a motion picture that wavers between irritating and flat out dull. He says The Headless Horseman only appears in 2 all too brief sequences in the film, once at the beginning and again in the finale. So that sucks. That stinks. Let's see. How's it going, everyone? Hey, Wyatt is I. What's going on? Good to see you. William S. Burroughs did the narrator in Witchcraft Through the Ages. Yep. Okay, well, I guess everybody's just listening. Much love to each and every one of you. There you go. Next movie is Nosferatu. Yes, the great F.W. Murnau. Lots of great people from Germany. Nosferatu, one of a kind, 1922, directed by F.W. Murnau, starred Max Schreck, Gustav von Wagenheim, Greta Schroeder. And how much do I go into this? Because we all know about it. Nosferatu the Vampire redirects here for the 1979 film. You can go see Nosferatu the Vampire, but we won't do that. Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, 1922 silent German expressionist horror film, of course. Count Orlok, a vampire who preys on the wife of his estate agent and brings the plague to their town. Nosferatu was produced by Prana Film and is an unauthorized and unofficial adaptation of Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. Various names and other details were changed from the novel, including Count Dracula being renamed Count Orlok. Yep, interesting. Although these changes are often represented as a defense against copyright infringement, the original German intertitles acknowledge Dracula as the source. Film historian David Kalat states in his commentary track that since the film was a low-budget film made by Germans for German audiences, setting it in Germany with German names, characters, makes the story more tangible and immediate for German-speaking viewers. Even with several details altered, Stoker's heirs sued over the adaptation, of course, and a court ruling ordered all copies of the film to be destroyed. However, several prints of the Nosferatu survived, and the film came to be regarded as an influential masterpiece of cinema and the horror genre. Now, just take that in for a second. Stoker's heirs, their family, they sued over this version of the film. And the court ruled that all the copies of the film be destroyed. Destroyed. Because the family was pissed off. How dare they? And if they did burn every single one of them, we may never have had Nosferatu because the family was pissed off. Again, I understand taking somebody else's story, but it's a novel. People are adapting it to film, and maybe it was a dip. I don't know. It's just, but we got it. That's the good thing. No need to keep going on about it. The classic scenes in that, a lot of the actors and actresses were separated during filming to keep them intense. Edward Stewart, separated from Max Schreck. Got lucky with Nosferatu, yeah. I imagine this was when film rights were hashed out. Probably, Grant, maybe somewhere around there. Yeah, I think copyrights started, you really started seeing a lot of them in the late 1920s. So yeah. Good point, Grant. Definitely a good point. Paul Hamm, Stoker's wife, was the one who brought the lawsuit, to be exact. Yeah, again, I'm not going. I could read, like it could take me the whole hour and a half to read the entire history of Nosferatu, Dracula, and all that stuff. It's in there, but I'm just going with super subplot. So it's good that you're throwing that in there, Paul Hamm. It was his wife in particular who did that, and yes, thank God we dodged that one, and we got what we got, and we still got Nosferatu. Horror Junkie for Life. Howdy. Hey. Good to see ya. Much love, Horror Junkie. Hope all is well. Good to see you. Clyde Disney. Best lost film story, William Gillette's film Sherlock Holmes. No, it's not the best. None of them are best. Sherlock Holmes 1916 was thought to have been lost for 100 years, was just found. Well, okay, good. No, that's right. Just found a few years back in France. It's stories like those. And you know what, Clyde? You know that there are lost films that are out there still somewhere. They're out there still somewhere. That's the part that gets to me. And they're constantly, things are being found, like books, tapes, recordings, So we could still find certain films over the years. The funny thing is that Bram Stoker, I think you're saying, Paul Hamm, great nephew of, Dacre Stoker, great nephew of Bram Stoker, a current promoter of the Stoker estate, loves Nosferatu. Of course. I mean, if anything, even back in the day, all that would do is help the sell of the novels. I mean, the novel Bram Stoker has been, how many copies of that book has been sold? Over 100 and how many years? 40, 50, somewhere. I mean, come on, Yes, a 1911 of Hunchback of Notre Dame was just recently found. Yes, that's the good thing. They can still be found, and when they are, grab it up, man. Let's see. At the back of the cupboard, and I'm just making sure I don't miss anything. I know there are a lot of missing Jack Benny episodes from radio. He did 824 of them. Mostly all of the ones we have are from WW2 and later Jello. Yes, Dave, that's another good point, that even a lot of these radio programs are lost. A lot of them are. Just very, very sad. Very, very sad. But moving on. I heard something. Okay. Last one from 1922 from the United States is called One Exciting Night. directed by D.W. Griffith, the great D.W. Griffith, and actors Carol Dempster, Henry Hall, Morgan Wallace. And One Exciting Night. Gotta love the poster to that. Listen, I know you guys probably can't see very well, but I love showing these posters. Okay, so there you go. In the year 2223, after everything material is destroyed, people will find the stream archive and be amazed. Yeah, you can only hope, right? One Exciting Night is a 1922 American Gothic silent mystery film directed by D.W. Griffith. The plot revolves around a series of murders on a wealthy estate and the attempts of the cast to uncover the murderer's identity. The success of both the Mary Roberts Reinhardt and Avery Hopwood play The Bat, 1920, as well as the 1922 stage play The Cat and the Canary, led D.W. Griffith to write and produce his own variation on the theme, which in turn led to the production of similar murder mystery old dark house films, thank God, such as The Ghostbreaker, 1922, previously filmed by Cecil B. DeMille. In 1914, The Bat, 1926, based on a 1920 play. Midnight Faces, 1926. The Cat and the Canary, 1927. The Old Dark House, 1932. The Old Dark House, another one of my favorites. And even the fabled London After Midnight from 1927 with Lon Chaney. At the time of this film, Henry Hall was starring on Broadway in the stage version of John Willard's The Cat and the Canary. So there you go. Let's see the plot. Should I say the plot? Let's see what this version has to say. It's a short plot. Agnes Harrington's uncle separates her from her family in Africa when her wealthy father passes away, so that he won't have to share his brother's fortune with the child. Years later, on his deathbed, he sees to it that Agnes is restored to her rightful place in society, cutting his own son, John Fairfax, out of the chain of inheritance in the process. John, Agnes, and a number of other people gather at the social event in the famous Fairfax estate, unaware that it is being used by a gang of bootleggers and that a hidden treasure is concealed somewhere on the grounds. To make matters worse, a creepy madman is stalking the grounds, and one by one, the people start turning up dead. Hold That Ghost, Abbott and Costello. Very similar theme. Very similar theme. Hold That Ghost, Abbott and Costello, which, if you haven't seen it, watch Hold That Ghost. Horror comedy, but Abbott and Costello. I mean, come on. So we're on to 1923. The cat loved the canary too. Love Cat and the Canary. D.W. liked spectacle. Yes, D.W. Griffith. Yeah. He was big into the gigantic stage musicals, and he was very good at what he did. Must be One Exciting Night. Henry Hall. Yep. Edward Stewart. Okay, so moving on. Let's go to The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 1923. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, directed by Wallace Worsley, starring Lon Chaney, Patsy Ruth Miller, and Norman Carey. Don't have to go too deep. We all know the story of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but I will say a little bit. Is a 1923 American drama film starring Lon Chaney, directed by Wallace Worsley, of course. The supporting cast, Patsy Ruth Miller, Norman Carey, Nigel de Bruyere, and Brandon Hurst. The film was Universal's super jewel of 1923 and was their most successful silent film, grossing $3.5 million. The film premiered on September 2nd, 1923 at the Astor Theater in New York, then went on to be released on September 6th. And I could go on and on and on. Quasimodo, standard of many horror films, including Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera. So it's a standard, kind of Hunchback of Notre Dame, included in most horror genres as part of those classic Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy. You can throw a Hunchback in there. You can, Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, so it's one of the good ones. And moving on, 1923 also in 1923, United States. The film is the Edward Stewart, 35,000 supporting cast. Love this film, so well done. Edward Stewart, a century old this year. Yes, Paul Hamm, 100-year-old. Yeah, all of these films. Yes, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, 100-year-old. And the next film from the United States is The Last Moment. The Last Moment, directed by J. Parker Reed. Also stars Henry Hull, Doris Kenyon, and Louis Woolheim. So The Last Moment, not a whole lot on this one. It's a 1923 American silent horror film. And the plot, they don't really go into the plot on this one. The poster shows the star of 3 Broadway successes. There's the poster, if you can see that a little bit. But yeah, don't really go into detail on that movie too much. Lon would have been able to make the transition to sound films if he only had the chance. Agreed. So there you go. Not much to be said about The Last Moment from 1923. Next film from 1923 is from Finland, and it's called Old Baron of Ratakila. Old Baron of Ratakila. Listen, I don't know. Directed by Carl Fager. I'm not even going to mention the actors, but let's see. What is this about? Old Baron of Ratakila. Rautakyla. It's a Finnish silent horror film made in 1923. The film is based on the novella Gambla Baron Pa Ratakila. The film premiered. Okay, is this going to tell me anything about it? Old Baron of Ratakila is the very first Finnish horror film ever made. It was filmed. The film footage of the film has survived, but the intertitles and original screenplay have lost. Okay, so maybe that's why there's not a whole lot on this. Very interesting. I'm not even going to hold up the picture because even that you can't really see much of. But yeah, okay, Old Baron of Ratakila, whatever. Almost sounds like a Dracula, but no, it's not. Let's see. Sounds like Count Chocula, right? That's what I was saying. Lon Chaney's Silent Freaks was remade when talkies came in. He only got to make one sound film, a plotless silent movie. Right? Black Roses. Okay, so next one from 1923, the last from that I've got for 1923 is from the United States. It's called While Paris Sleeps. And the director is Maurice Tourneau. I don't know. Actors Lon Chaney, Mildred Manning. So While Paris Sleeps, what is this? AKA The Glory of Love is a 1923 silent drama film. Okay, so this ain't even horror, but a silent drama film based on the novel The Glory of Love. Sounds like a record by Barbra Streisand. The Glory of Love by Leslie Beresford, directed by Maurice Tourneau and starring Lon Chaney, John Gilbert. Whoever wrote the screenplay adaptation went uncredited. but some sources claim it was Wyndham Gittins. Special effects were by Floyd Mueller. The film was actually made in 1920 under the title The Glory of Love, but for some unknown reason, it was only released in 1923, with the title inexplicably changed to While Paris Sleeps. It is likely the film's gruesome content may have caused its release to be held up for so long. The film was apparently never copyrighted properly. May have bought the picture outright and from whomever owned it and released it himself in 1923 under the new title. Okay, so thus the name change. The film is now believed to be lost. It still exists showing Chaney in the role of the sculptor Henry Santados, and online is shown the poster. Okay, so I'm looking at the poster. I see Lon Chaney. It looks like chaos. Chaos ensues. Okay, so it's kind of a weird movie. A jealous Santos teams up with Father Marionette, and together they plot to get rid of O'Keefe. Okay, so one of those types of films. Let's go back. Moving to 1924 now. Nice, Dina, wondering if you were going to do Paris Sleeps, precursor to Mystery of Wax Museum. Unfortunately, it's a lost film, though. It is still lost, right, Edward? Or did they find a copy? Some of the actors and actresses didn't make to the talkies for war. Exactly. John Shaggy, Zoinks, Scoob, what's going on? Good to see you, man. But yeah, the war had a lot to do with everything. 1924, first film we're going to talk about is from Germany and Austria. We just talked about this. We just did Peter Lorre's film Mad Love, and this is The Hands of Orlok, directed by Robert Wine, starring Conrad Veidt and Alexandria Sorina. Me just talking about this, everybody should know. Not sure, but that's what they are saying about it. Boy, it's a 1924 Austrian silent horror. Listen, we know all about this. The Hands of Orlok. The plot is quite long, and I'm not going to go into it. Concert pianist Paul Orlok loses his hands in a horrible railway accident. His wife Yvonne pleads with, oh my God. I knew I should. Connie always tells me, hey, drinks or whatnots. I don't have any. I think in this version it's a little bit different, but nonetheless, similar to Mad Love with Peter Lorre. So there you go. Let's move on to the next one. A German film called Waxworks. Waxworks, directed by Paul Lenny. Actors were Werner Krauss, Conrad Veidt, Emil Jannings, and William de Turle. Whatever, de Turle. Okay, so what is this film? Oh, this is similar for the 1980s horror film. See, Waxwork, 1988. Could it be similar in theme? I've seen Waxwork, 1988. Okay, so Waxworks is a 1924 German silent anthology film directed by Paul Lenny. So an anthology film. Paul Ham, Hands of Orlok was the original version of Mad Love. Conrad Veidt is outstanding in this. There you go, Paul Ham. Let's see. The F Freaks was a what? You got it, hun? Who you talking to there, Connie? It's last time I heard it's still lost. You got okay, Conrad Veidt plays Yvonne the Terrible in this. Waxworks is an anthology. Thank you, Paul Ham. It's just what I said. So yeah, let's see. The film encompasses several genres, including a fantasy adventure, a historical film, and a horror film. Though its various episodes, its stories are linked by a plot thread about a writer, William Dieterle, I don't know how to say that, who accepts a job from Waxworks proprietor who write a series of stories about the exhibits of Caliph of Baghdad, Emil Jannings, Ivan the Terrible, and Jack the Ripper, Werner Krause, in order to boost business. Interesting. Interesting. Reese Puff sounds good. Oh, nice. I prefer Frankenberry milk, but thanks anyway. Get some chocula milk. Yeah, yeah. Reese Puff cereal. Yeah. When you're done, that tastes pretty good too. So yeah. This sounds pretty damn good too. Anthology with Caliph of the Thief of Baghdad, Ivan the Terrible, and Jack the Ripper. So the film's format may have influenced late horror anthologies such as the British Dead of Night, 1945, and the Italian Black Sabbath from 1963 by Mario Bava. Critic Troy Holworth mentions of all the later horror anthologies, it seems to have had the most direct effect on Amicus Torture Garden from 1968, which, and Amicus is a movie studio, I think right before Hammer, then Amicus turned into pretty much Hammer Horror, I think I'm correct, which reused the Waxworks motif. The film was also known as The Three Waxmen. The 1924 silent film supposedly inspired a 1988 remake of sorts. Yes, Waxwork, but any similarity between the two ends there. Because yes, the 1988 Waxwork film was of its own. It was 80s cheese is what it was. We should all meet up at Waffle House one for no reason. Listen, if we were, definitely. Let's see. Hey, good folks. Psychology Noir with Dr. Nunn. Say hi to Rich Cat Ranch for me. Haven't seen her in over a month. Hopefully everything's fine. I haven't seen her. She was such a big part of the channel every single day. I haven't seen her. Hopefully she's good, and her husband and everybody. Much love to Rich Cat Ranch. Miss her on the stream. Anyways, good to see you, Psychology Dr. Lund. Let's see. Vicky, what's going on, Vicky? I remember that movie, Barely 88, Waxworks. It's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good movie. I like it, Ryan 79. Waxworks 1988 was, it was pretty good. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. 1925. I'm not sure how much I'll be able to get in here, but I'm going to keep going and try to get in. 1925. These are all from the United States. There's 3 films listed. We got The Monster, 1925, directed by Roland West, starring Lon Chaney, Johnny Arthur, and Gertrude Olmsted. And The Monster is, I love the poster. Oh, I love these old posters. The Monster is a 1925 American silent horror comedy film directed by Roland West, based on a stage play of the same name by Crane Wilbur and starring Lon Chaney. Listen, dog, stop your yapping. And comedian Johnny Arthur. The screenplay was written by Willard Mack and Albert Kenyon. It is remembered as an early prototype for the Old Dark House movie. Oh, nice. As well as a precedent to a number of horror film subgenres such as Mad Scientist with imbecilic assistants, among others. A great shot of the Mad Doctor and his monstrous cronies can be seen on the internet. Some sources list the film's release date as March 1925. Wait, is this missing too? What's going on? While others say February. Vicky, let Kathy know I'll be popping in soon. She seems like all is well. Good to see you, Dino. Well, what happened? What happened to Kathy? Connie asked Kathy what's going on. I'll shoot her a message. just disappeared. Paul Hamm, The Monster is a great but creepy horror comedy. Chaney plays the mad Dr. Ziska in a closed mental asylum trying to transfer souls. Ryan 79, I grew up in the 80s with horror movies because of my teenage sister. I was watching Friday the 13th. Listen, from my earliest age, I was seeing Friday the 13th, and I was like 5. And I'm like, oh, what? It didn't faze me. The monster is not missing. This is Paul Hamm. Yeah, no, I'll shoot her a message, Connie. I'm curious. Anyways, let's see. So that's the monster. Not lost, but I can go on. This film has been shown on Turner Classic Movies with an alternative and uncredited music score. West later went on to direct The Bat from 1926, Edward. Yep. And its later sound remake, The Bat Whispers. There you go, 1930. That's what I'm talking about. So there you go. That sounds like a pretty darn good film, one that I haven't seen yet either. So there you go. I have to leave a bit early. Thank you, Dino and Mods. Okay. Take care, CM. Got a surprise mixed bag of mystery and detective tonight. Threw together, you're going to enjoy every one of them, but, just a mixed bag. So you guys should know me by now. It'll be a nice mixture of detective, mystery, stuff like that. So anyways, the next film from 1925 is, let's see, Edward Stewart. A good one everyone needs to see is Wolf Blood, 1925, really the first werewolf film, similar to The Wolfen. Interesting. There you go. Thank you, Harry Scott. Much love to you. The Phantom of the Opera, 1925, directed by Rupert Julian, starring Lon Chaney, Mary Philbin. Mary Philbin. Is this the Mary Philbin from the Jack Benny Show? Norman Carey. I'm interested. Hold on. No, this is a different Mary Philbin. What's wrong with me? What is this? Is Mary Philbin from The Man Who Laughs? Yes, where she plays the blind. Oh God, yeah. I think her name is Mary Philbin, though. That is on the Jack Benny Show, right? Dave Plafay, you still here? Mary Philbin, isn't it Mary Philbin? Anyways, The Phantom of the Opera, 1925, Lon Chaney version. There you go. Silent horror film adaptation of Gaston Leroux's 1910 novel Le Fantôme de l'Opéra, directed by Rupert Julian. Lon Chaney in the title role of the deformed phantom who haunts the Paris Opera House, causing murder and mayhem in an attempt to make the woman he loves a star. The film remains most famous for Chaney's ghastly, self-devised makeup, which was kept a studio secret until the film's premiere. The picture also features Mary Philbin, and all these other actors, Norman Carey, Arthur Edmund Kerwee, Gibson Golan, John St. Paulos, and Snitz Edwards. I like that name, Snitz. Snitz. Hey, Snitz. Sounds like a wise guy. Hey, what you doing over there, Snitz? The last surviving cast member was Carla Laemmle, died 2014. Niece of producer Carl Laemmle, who played a small role as a prima ballerina in the film when she was about 15 years old. The film was released on September 6, 1925. There you go. Very cool. Nice. We all know the Phantom of the Opera, right? No more needs to be said. And here we go. I think this is what you were talking about, Edward. And still the closest adaptation to the actual novel, says Paul Hamm. Sure was a lot of great writing talent back then. Oh, yeah. Well, think about it. You needed good writers for these silents to tell a story. Same with the old-time radio. You needed great writers. And unfortunately, you don't need a lot of great writers today. But anyways, Sure was a lot of great. Yeah, okay, I got that. Personal favorite, like the Cheney version best. How did the original Phantom get disfigured? Did his organ explode? Oh God, Black Roses. The Man Who Laughs, RTN really loved that film. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So the next film from the United States from 1925 is Wolf Blood, A Tale of the Forest. Wolf Blood, A Tale of the Florist. Of the Florist. A Tale of the Florist. Of the Forest. Directed by George Cheesebro, I guess. Bruce M. Mitchell. Starring Marguerite Clayton and Ray Hanford. Let me see this. No poster of this. How dare they? For the Russian film, see Wolf. Oh, that's okay. So Wolf Blood. That's what you're talking about, Edward. No. It's also known as Wolf Blood. Wolf Blood, or Wolf Blood: A Tale of the Forest. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Cheers to Fears. Good to see you. Love the name, of course. What's going on, Neil? And one Sean Bond. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. So this film, as Edward Stewart said, is a werewolf film. So Wolf Blood, also known as Wolf Blood: A Tale of the Forest, is an American silent 1925 werewolf film starring George Cheesebro, I think that's how you say it, who also co-directed it with B serial veteran Bruce M. Mitchell. The film has been referenced in a number of books as being the first werewolf movie ever made. This, however, is erroneous. The first werewolf movie is The Werewolf, a film made in 1913. However, that film is considered to be lost. Therefore, Wolf Blood could be called the earliest surviving werewolf film. Although this film is labeled as horror, there is very little in the feature film to be qualified as a horror film. Instead, the film focuses more on romance and archaic action rather than suspense and fear, as we have seen in the horror films of the time. The film is said to have more in common with westerns and adventure films of the 1920s. This film's importance to the genre of horror comes more so from its historical importance rather than the historical impact. Wolf Blood is available commercially as an extra on a DVD together with F.W. Murnau's The Haunted Castle. And I would guess you could probably find Wolf Blood right here on YouTube as well. That's where I go for all the ones that, especially these early silents and some of the foreign films and stuff like that. Cheers to Fears. Gotta admit, silent films are not my forte, not knowledgeable on them at all, but I'm interested in diving into them. Cheers for Fears. I think Cheers to Fears. I think once you, and that's a spin on horror and the band Tears for Fears. Anyways, continuing on. Once you dive in, if you hit the classics like Nosferatu, the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, it's going to give you this. There's a certain love and appeal that you should get from that then takes you into the depths of the waters of what is silent horror films. And once you do, it's like going back in time. I mean, it's so fantastic. I think most will agree with me. But once it gets bit by the wolf, it gets interesting. Edward Stewart. Okay, so they make it sound like not much to it, more of a romance. But anyways, 1926. Here we go. 1926. We have from the United States a movie called The Bat, directed by Roland West, stars Jack Pickford and Louis Fazenda. The Bat. Love this film. I love this film. I love the card too. Here's a lobby card. Let me see if I can get that big enough. It almost looks like the old dark house right there. But see that? They're all on the steps, the stairwell, the bat. That is an excellent lobby card. It looks so good. The Bat is a 1926 American silent comedy mystery film directed by Roland West and starring Jack Pickford and Luis Fazenda. The film is based on the 1920 Broadway hit play The Bat by Mary Roberts Reinhardt and Avery Hopwood, which itself was an adaptation of Reinhardt's 1908 mystery novel, The Circular Staircase. The Bat has been cited as an early influence on the slasher film genre. Yes, yes. Considered, I believe, an early slasher of sorts. And yes, Paul Hamm was the inspiration for Batman. Ed Stathis, hey guys, just chilling, enjoying discussion. Cool stuff, Dino. Edward Stewart, love the Bat. Paul Hamm, I did a full commentary of that movie. That's where Edward Stewart found me years ago. And me and Ted go on and on about how it inspired the Batman and the scenes, the cinematography. There are certain scenes shot that are just beautiful. I mean, he tinkered with techniques in the filmmaking process that if you haven't seen this film, you got to see it. But yes, I've mentioned that in the past. Inspiration for Batman. Yes, yes, yes. I'm not sure how much I'm going to go on the follow the plot here. It's because it's a long one. Gideon Bell, owner of the Favre Emeralds, receives a letter stating that the emeralds will be stolen at midnight by the Bat, the character the Bat. It is cool. He's got this big trench coat hat. Look, it's very Batman-esque like, and that the police will not be able to stop the robbery. The Bat, a figure dressed as a bat, murders Gideon and steals the emeralds. The Bat leaves a bad-shaped note for the chief. So anyways, you get kind of the idea what's going on here. So at the top of what I've seen, I think everybody should see this one, definitely. Am I wrong, Edward? But an excellent film, The Jewel Thief. I'm getting so very hooked on this great channel. Well, thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. Tell your friends. Tell your friends about it. There's a scene in this movie where it just shows a black screen, and there's this light of a window type thing, but it doesn't even look like a window. It just looks like an opening. And there's a ladder that goes up to it. Imagine all black screen, a ladder going up to this box light that leads into a room. And they show him climbing up it and crawling in it. It just stands out to me because the cinematography of that scene, the way it looks, it is just so, so good. So good. I wonder if this was a roundabout influence for the Pink Panther, Grant L. No, I don't think so. It's more of a mystery, a darker themed movie and plot and concept, as was a lot of the movies from that period that involved mystery. Even the Sherlock Holmes, there were a lot of times there were pearls or emeralds involved, and somebody stole it. It just was a reoccurring theme back in the day. You are right, Dino. So good. Still have the VHS from Sinister Cinema. Very cool. Thank you, one Sean Bond. Like, subscribe, and share. Please give a thumbs up. I know it's 9:38, but I'm going to do, I think, one more. Adam for Christ, that's cool. That inspired the idea for Batman. Yes, yes. So the Bat guy was a jewel thief. Interesting. Yes, Black Roses. Watch it. Watch it, please. I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it is also on YouTube too, but next film, and maybe last film I talk about, we shall see. There was also a 1959 movie also named, yes, Vincent Price. There were a lot of films, Donovan Belair, named The Bat, actually. was from United States, 1926. The Bells, directed by James Young, starring Lionel Barrymore and Boris Karloff. So, The Bells. Ooh, definitely like the poster for this too. Is a 1926 American silent crime film directed by James Young with Barrymore and Karloff. It was based on an 1867 French stage play called, oh, I'm not even going to say that. I don't think I can say the words. La Jouffe Polonaise. I'll say that. The play was, listen, it's a different day and age. I don't even know what to say anymore. Translated to English, 1871 by Leopold Lewis, at which time it was retitled The Bells. The English version of the play was performed, not performed, in the U.S. in the 19th century by Sir Henry Irving. Was also an adaptation of opera of the same name. Okay, this is going all over the place. What's the Bells? An innkeeper with several other businesses seeks to be burgomaster of a small Austrian hamlet. In order to gain favor with local leaders, he offers food and alcohol on credit, but often refuses to collect. What the hell? Much to the dismay of his wife, Catherine, Matthias is deeply in debt to Franz, who seeks Matthias's business. He will forgive the debt if Matthias allows him to marry his daughter, Annette. Matthias, I believe it's Matthias, refuses and is worried about his debt. Which, listen, this sounds not that great, but I'm sure it's a good film. Having come into money through murder, Matthias. Okay, so murder, money, the Bells. It's got good people connected to it, but yeah, that wasn't catching me very well at all. Do I talk about one more? Geez, I'm getting awful. Burgermaster. I know, Black Roses. Every time I see the word, I got to say Burgermaster. Same in Frankenstein. So anyways, Burgermaster. It's what you're going to get from me. It's just one of the Dino-isms. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should stop there. It's nearly 15 till. We can definitely continue this again if people enjoy it. Listen, I like going through the movies. I like seeing what's out there and talking about them. So Burgermaster, yeah, had to throw this out there, Dino. 1917, Hilda Warren and Death, early versions of Rosemary Baby, but not sure if it's lost. 1917, Hilda Warren and Death, early version of Rosemary's Baby. I'm going to have to figure that out. Hey, Edward, can you send me, just so I don't forget, I don't got a pen or paper here, shoot me that in Discord or however you want to get the message to me. I'd be interested to look into that a little bit more. Paul Ham, great discussion. Thank you, Paul Ham. Thank you, Dino. Please do. Thank you, Connie Clary. Once again, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Harry Scott. Yes, thanks each and every one of you for hanging with me and having fun. And overnight tonight, no timestamps. Again, this is a surprise mix. I've been so busy over the weekend with my kids that just haven't had time to make timestamps. But you can rest assured that I threw in very good shows, and each one will be different. So there's a different episode, and it's detective, mystery. It's what people love on the channel. So I'm not sure what I'll do tomorrow, but there you go. And hit that thumbs up before you leave, please. And yeah, think about, again, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, joining the Patreon for movie nights and Discord group and all that other good stuff. But thank you for the stream. Thank you. Agree. Thank you. Wait, what did Edward Stewart say? It's in a book I have that talks about it. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to remember the name. This was fun. Nice seeing you all here. Remember. Oh, thank you. Yes. Keep watching the skies. Definitely. You're the best, Dino. Thank you, Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund. Appreciate you. Clyde, excellent, Dino. Thank you. Always fun hearing you talk about the horror movies. Thanks, Dino, and have a nice night. Okay, peace and love, everybody. And I will catch you in 15 minutes, and then I must eat.